Happy March 11th, everybody. This is the fourth part of the John Sikora show. Well, hopefully you've been listening to the rest of it. A little windmill, it's not really moving well. Hopefully you've been listening to the rest of it. It's a very interesting show about conspiracies that are not theories at all, but actual conspiracies. And I want to just remind you that when the speed limit says 20, remember that there are somebody's kids. They might not be your kids, but they are somebody's kids who are in this school zone, and maybe you want to take it a little slower. All right, because that's what the speed limit is. So why don't you just do that? All right, back to the show.
You can also get them to get on board with population reduction and things like that. All you have to do is withhold the aid that they've come to depend on so much.
You know, he's got to be right, though. I mean, Thrust 1, the European Union, and the North American Free Trade Agreement,
exactly.
that is to lead to a North American Union, have come into being. An Asian Monetary Union currently is being arranged. Thrust 2, the U.S. and Western nations have provided financial aid in the billions to third world nations, and as you just said, John, creating debt and agreements that allow a plundering of the emerging nations' national resources. This is really good. Thrust 3, the U.S. trade exchange with the Soviet Union and China exploded with billions of dollars in American technology going to communist countries. And then Thrust 4, the Western globalists have profited from several energy crises, each one enriching them further while providing greater control of the world's oil reserves. So let's hold your thought, your thought structure. But let's just take a little side trip here for a second. Is it accelerating? Because it seems like it is. Is this thing being shifted into fifth gear and then finally sixth as what's going on here comes to the attention of the population at large?
Well, I don't know. You see what's going on in the oil-rich region of the Middle East. I mean, my God, there's, just in the last year, there have been all of these, uprisings. And, even though the governments were, sort of dictatorships, they were friendly to the United States. All of a sudden, we've got a major mixture of chaos in the Middle East, and I think that's what they want.
They do want it.
Because out of chaos for them comes success. So I don't know what to expect here in the Middle East, but things really look dark.
Do you know anything about this London School of Economics?
Well, yeah, it was, it's always been Marxist-leaning. The system that these oligarchs prefer is socialism, only because it's the best control system of a society that they've seen so far. They have no love for, socialistic ideals. It's just about control.
What about Soros?
Well,
how does he fit into the grand scheme of things, other than he's been a genius at currency trading?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just funny that he's funding the Democrats. But like I say, it really doesn't matter whether he funded the Democrats or the Republicans. It's because they're basically the same.
All right then. What about the Bilderbergers? Tell us about them.
Oh, okay. Well, the Bilderberg group is interesting because it's a collection of powerful men and women, many of them from European royalty, and they meet secretly each year, and this is truly secret. And they discuss and form policy. You have radical watchdog groups like Liberty Lobby that accuse the Bilderbergers of trying to create a world government and run by an unelected elite and replace national governments. But that's not that far off. The name Bilderberg probably came from the Bilderberg Hotel in Oosterbeek, Oosterbeek, Holland, where the first known meeting took place in 1954. Prince Bernhard of Holland, who was a former Nazi until the Germans invaded his country, is credited with organizing the group along with Dr. Joseph Redinger, a Polish socialist. Now, the group was extremely active in creating the European Union, helping to set up the 1957 Treaty of Rome that created the European Common Market And in 1999, the euro became the common currency of every Western European nation except Britain, and the European Central Bank was created to handle the monetary policy in 2002. So you have a lot of their goals being taken care of, and these were all discussed in Bilderberg meetings prior to that. NATO was also a major preserve for Bilderbergers who wished to use it in eliminating national sovereignties of Europe and combine nations into an Anglo-American dominated whole. Charles de Gaulle saw through this, and that's why he refused to allow France to join NATO. The annual Bilderberg meetings have such strict security, and over the years, journalists have been harassed and even arrested for attempting to get inside. Some of them, were on public property and still were harassed. Daniel Estulin is a Canadian citizen, although his family came from Russia. He's been reporting on them for 2 decades now, and he has come up with some amazing things in his books. One of Estulin.
What is his name again, John?
Daniel Estulin, Estulin.
Okay.
Okay, he has sources inside the Bilderbergs. He calls them conscientious objectors, people who are not really, on the trolley with the rest of the Bilderberg thinking. One of his sources recorded Henry Kissinger making a speech on May 12, 1992, at a meeting in Evian, France. He said, quote, "Today Americans would be outraged if UN troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Tomorrow they will be grateful." So anyway, we have, that kind of internationalism, foreign troops coming into America and how to make Americans welcome that. Another of Estulin's sources claimed to overhear Kissinger saying to Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau in the late 1970s, quote, "Jimmy Carter is not the President of the United States. The Trilateral Commission is the President of the United States. I represent the Trilateral Commission." That kind of sounds like Henry, too.
Here's the thing, and I've said this a few times on the program. My father, I wish I could remember everything that he said. I'm trying. But he said this back when I was a kid, like in elementary school. That's been a while. That's when dinosaurs roamed the earth. And he said that every president that goes into office has a little conversation as soon as he takes office. He's never the same after that conversation. Mm-hmm. And, look at Obama here. Now, some people think, you're slamming Obama. You don't like him for this reason. That's just not true. Because George Bush and several other presidents get beat up pretty regularly on this program when I'm sitting in the captain's chair.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he did not close Guantanamo, however good or bad an idea that might have been. He didn't do it. We did not terminate business with Venezuela. There have been reversals over and over and over again, and he has to keep a good face, and go, yeah, we're just going this way. It's no big deal, but his strings are being pulled. It's obvious.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And, he has a miserable record in, in keeping his campaign promises.
They all do. In fact, I'm quite a Three Stooges aficionado, and Mo said during one of these deals they were doing, he said, "Oh, you can't believe all that stuff. That's a campaign promise."
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's really true, though. Once upon a time, people were enlightened enough to go, that's just a campaign promise. He's not going to do a bloody thing about it,
Yeah, which makes me feel that Obama he's just another politician. And, I know a lot of people love the guy, but, to me, he's just another guy with his strings being pulled,
Well, and his friends, some of his friends aren't helping him either, like Ayers and Dorn and a bunch of other ones, but there's always something you can throw against the wall, and if you keep throwing enough stuff against the wall, eventually some of it sticks. But in this case, so much stuff is being thrown against the wall that none of it is sticking. So that leads me to my next question, which is, so how massive is the PSYOPs, the psychological operation against the mass mind of our nation, and is it working or not? Are these guys really that smart?
Yeah. Well, the thing I really hoped for in this book and writing it was to reach regular folks, okay? Not the believers, but people who are worried about, the mortgage and, how am I going to get my kid to college and, that promotion that I want at work. And, you know, and they're just so steeped in these everyday worries that they just don't have time to look into this. And what I was hoping for is just to give them, like the ad says, a wake-up call. You know, I was like, hey, this is going on, and it's not just affecting you, it's going to affect your kids and your grandkids.
Well, it's time to gird our intellectual loins. The book is Battle Hymn, and the author is John Skura, and we will return for the remainder of the program because we have a long way to go, and we will get there. This is Coast to Coast AM. Stand by.
All right, I want to say John Skura was actually one of the guests on Joe Rogan's show, which I will have to listen to now. I was trying to get to people that I was more familiar with that I wanted to hear. But now he just jumped up the list because this is interesting stuff. I wanted to see how Joe deals with it because he's, you know, kind of right in this wheelhouse. All right, so there it is. You hear what he's saying. You know, the people that are in charge that we think are merely puppets with strings being pulled, and mostly those strings are just money. I mean, it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be, oh, we know these secrets about your family or whatever. You know, you want to get back in office, you need money. The more you want to get in office, the more you're willing to compromise to get that money. But in the end, it all comes down to the dollar. And, you know, that's the problem. Because it should come down to, you know, life. You know, I mean, they say that there are definitely ways that we could grow food. It's not the most profitable way, which is the way capitalism does it, but it is definitely a doable way where we could feed 11 billion people. You know, I mean, there's plenty of land to farm, but if it's not the most profitable land to farm, the big companies don't do it. You know, there might have been smaller companies doing it, but the big companies buy them out and they just leave the land fallow because they don't want the competition. But it's, you know, it's all about the dollar instead of the people. And the people is what it's all about for real. Nature is all about life. And life will continue. Life will continue to go on. That's how it works. So remember that. Your immune system will keep you strong. My immune system, you know, pushed blood past clotted jugulars, where my body was still being worked on by the hospital and the doctors. But with the blood clots in my jugulars, my brain would shut down if it didn't have enough blood. So my body did everything it had to do to get blood up into this noggin of mine. And I'm gonna get like an infrared camera app or something, because you have to see the veins that I have on my I mean, the kids, you guys know, but if anybody else is watching, you know, it's a miracle to see what the body is able to do spontaneously by itself so that it can continue to be a functioning part of society, not just a living part, a functioning part. It has to get blood into a brain if this is going to not be a drain on society. So it did just that, and it forced all blood through all alternate paths, my capillaries, this, you know, the non-main pathways were pumped up, and now I have a vest of heat, of blood on the outside of my fat layer. I cool down a lot quicker because of it. I go in the water, I always have to wear a wetsuit. I always have to, you know, try to keep track of, you know, how cold I am, because I do cool off a lot quicker than a normal human would. But small price to pay to be alive, and I kind of relish in it because it is one more thing that makes me more unique than most humans, because not everybody has that. I mean, not everybody has one of these, you know, trach tube, but a lot of people have those. But the veins, I don't know that there are too many people that have it. Apparently there's a name for it. Big ups to Alex, Gina's friend. She's a doctor in the city, and she told me what the name was. I didn't really pay attention enough to remember. It was quite a while ago, and I should have. But in any case, I love you all. 6 things, half your body weight in ounces. Love everybody. and live every day. LIVINOW. Yeah.